All right, welcome back. Today, we're diving into an absolute masterpiece of satire from the legendary Harishankar Parsai. It's a short story called Vikaskaha, which translates to a story of development. And honestly, its critique of power and progress feels like it could have been written yesterday. It uses this incredible wit to ask a really uncomfortable question. When we talk about development, who is it really for?
The public's eyes are blindfolded, but they still applaud. I mean, just let that sink in. This single line really gets to the core of Parsai's entire argument. It paints this chilling picture, right? A whole population kept in the dark, but they're still cheering on the very system that's blinding them. It's a huge paradox, and it's what this entire story is built around.
So, how does this all kick off? Well, our story starts with the narrator, who's a writer, getting this very official-looking letter from something called the Development Ministry. You know, he jokes that getting an envelope from the government is kind of like a lottery ticket. You've got no idea what's inside. But this one's got a really weird request. So get this. The ministry is holding a competition. They want him to take one of their field reports and interpret it, to find its hidden, deeper meaning. Apparently, this report shows the beautiful form of development, and they need a writer to basically spin it, to make it sound so good that the public will be inspired to sacrifice even more for the nation. And of course, there's a cash prize. There's always a cash prize, right? So what's actually in this report? At first glance, it seems pretty straightforward. It's all about a day of progress in some village, and it focuses on two different competitions. But trust me, it's in the details of these contests where things start to get really interesting. And this is where Parsai's genius really shines through. The report sets up this incredible contrast. On one hand, you have a grain production contest. You know, real, actual work that feeds the country, won by a farmer named Kishenlal through pure hard work. And on the other hand, a kheer eating contest. Kheer is this sweet rice pudding, and the contest is literally just a silly game that the officials' wives made up to entertain themselves. And the best part? They claim it's all to promote national equality. You can't make this stuff up. So how did this so-called game of equality actually play out? Well, spoiler alert, it was a total sham, rigged from the very beginning. The collector's wife, the most powerful person there, is the one who suggests it. The main rule? Everyone has to be blindfolded. But surprise, surprise, when it's her turn, she gives the server this little look, and her blindfold gets tied, let's just say, very loosely. She just slips it off, eats the kheer, and boom, she's the winner. It's the whole system, just in a tiny, perfect example. Okay, so this all leads to the big finish, the grand prize ceremony. The collector himself is handing out the awards. This is supposed to be the big moment, right? Where we finally see that beautiful form of development in action. So first up is Kishenlal. Remember him? The farmer who actually worked his tail off and produced more grain than anyone? The guy who was literally feeding the nation. So what does he get? What prize awaits this genuine hero? A monkey toy. He gets a child's toy. For all that backbreaking labor, for feeding an entire region, his prize is a cheap little plaything. And to make it even worse, the report says that all the officials watching just burst out laughing. They're laughing so hard their stomachs hurt. His hard work is literally a joke to them. Okay, and what about the collector's wife? The woman who cheated at a game she invented for fun. What's her prize? She gets a brand new, expensive stainless steel set. A valuable, useful prize. And the narrator points out the absolutely savage irony here. She's given the tools so she can, and this is a direct quote, eat more kheer. The system isn't just rewarding her, it's giving her the tools to consume even more. I mean, just listen to that again. Seeing this, everyone laughed heartily. The collector's stomach ached from laughing. This one line just lays it all bare, doesn't it? For them, this shocking injustice isn't some problem to be fixed, it's a joke. The farmer's humiliation is their afternoon entertainment. Okay, so this is where our narrator has to come back in and somehow explain this whole mess to the ministry. And what he does is brilliant. He doesn't just describe what happened, he decodes it. He says this isn't a story about a village. It's a perfect, brutal metaphor for how the entire country's development actually works. So what is Vikas, or development, really? According to his prize-winning interpretation, it's nothing more than a giant nationwide kheer-eating contest. The people in power, well, they've taken off their blindfolds and they're just feasting away. Meanwhile, The public's eyes are still covered, and they just keep applauding.
So let's just break down these symbols, because every piece matters. The key, that's the nation's resources, the fruits of all that labor. The blindfold, that's all the distractions and propaganda designed to keep people from seeing what's really going on. The monkey toy is that symbolic pat on the head, right? The cheap, distracting prize you give to the real workers. And the steel set, those are the tools the powerful get to consume even more resources. And the whole thing, the collector giving the prize to his own wife, it's the system rewarding itself, a perfect closed loop. But the story's not quite over. Parsai saves his most brilliant, most devastating move for the very end. After laying out this entire interpretation, the narrator tacks on a little postscript, a little correction for the reader.
Which brings us to the big question, right? After coming up with this absolutely savage and spot-on interpretation, what prize did our writer get from the ministry? Did he win the contest? And this is the final punch in the gut. He says, "The development ministry held no competition and I received no prize." That part is a lie. The whole setup, the letter, the contest, it was all made up. But then he adds, "The rest, the report and my interpretation, is absolutely true." In that one move, he just yanks the rug out from under you. He completely collapses the distance of fiction. He's basically screaming at us, hey, this isn't just some clever little fable with a moral at the end. He's saying the absurd, unjust, ridiculous part of the story, that's the real part. The story isn't a story, it's a mirror.
And that really leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? Parsai wrote this decades ago, but it feels so unbelievably current. It makes you stop and ask yourself, if this story is a mirror, what are we seeing in it today? Who are the people working hard for a monkey toy? And maybe more importantly, who is eating the cure?